Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. My name is Bhuvan Agarwal and I hope you all are doing great. So today we are moving on with our next question in this series of predicting the output of the code snippets given in C language. So if you are watching this video for the very first time, if you are a new viewer of my channel, then kindly subscribe and press that bell icon because in this channel I keep regularly updating videos related to interview preparation and also financial literacy, which is lacking a lot in our society. So let's get started with our today's video. So this is our next question. I would suggest every one of you to kindly pause this video and just try to solve this question on your own. Then I will be telling you the solution to it. Okay. Okay, I hope you all probably got some answers. So let us see what this question is saying us. So you can see we are having two functions now. One is main function and other function is func. Okay. Now this function is called from within main function. Okay. This line means func parameters. Okay. These are nothing but function calls. Okay. This function call will trigger this function and the codes inside this function will be executed. Okay, I hope you know this thing. Now the func is called in a very strange fashion. How? Within for loop. So you already know that within for loop you have three parts. First part is called as initialization part, which is the first part to run and it will be executed only once. I hope you know this. Next, this is called as condition part. So here also we are running a function call and whatever value it returns, based on that we will decide whether the condition is true or false. Okay. And last we are having the increment decrement part. Here also we are calling the function itself. And then if this function whatever value it returns, if it is true, then we will execute this printf statement, and inside this printf statement we are again calling that function and we will print whatever the value is will be returned from this function. Okay. So this is how it is a very lengthy as well as a very tricky type of question, because in any parts there are a lot of function calls, right? And inside the function there are some operations going on, so there can be mistakes in calculations for majority of the students. So that is why that is what is the reason behind keeping this question in this series. Okay. So before starting we need to understand what is written inside this function. So inside this function, as you can see, we are having a static integer variable defined. What is static integer variable? So if you don't understand the use case of static integer variable, then you cannot solve this question. Okay. What happens is, if suppose you are having a normal variable inside it, just forget about static. Suppose you are having only int num 16. So what happens is, when this function is called, a variable will be created with value 16 and it will be decremented, means the num minus minus will be executed and the value will be returned. Simple. Next, again a function call is happened, again that same variable will be defined and 16 will be allocated to that variable again. Okay, means whenever the first function call was completely executed and the control comes back, the function, the whatever variables was defined within that function, that all will get destroyed automatically. Okay, but static variables works in a different way. So we have to understand the golden statement here before moving on with this question. Okay, so this is the golden statement for this question. Static variables is initialized once and it remains alive until the code is completely executed. Yes, means what happened is, with the normal variables, whenever the function is fully executed, then whatever the variables is defined or declared, that all will get destroyed. But static variable is not destroyed. It is only initialized once and it will remain alive until the whole program is completely terminated. Okay. After that only the all the static variables will be destroyed. At before that, no static variable will be initialized only once and it will remain alive. Okay, so this was the catch in this question. So let us understand how to solve this question. I will go in a very slow manner so that you can understand each and every single operations going on. Okay. So at the very first thing, just focus on this main function because program starts executing from the main function itself. Okay. Now within for loop, as I said, the initialization part is the one which will be executed first, and it will be executed only one time. Okay. So func is called. So this function is called and it will trigger the function. Now the first line, which is never executed as of now, right? So it is the first time for this line to be executed, correct? So a static integer variable will be defined. So at first, whenever a function is called, you need to understand that a separate memory for this function will be created. So like this, a separate memory is been created for this function. Now whenever the variable of static variable is defined, it will be defined only once. Okay, it's a static variable with value 16 and it won't get destroyed. That is why I have kept it outside the function. Okay, because whatever the local variables for this function, that will be destroyed as soon as this function is completely executed, correct? But static variable won't be destroyed. Okay, just understand this thing. So after this is initialized with 16, now the statement that we will run is return num minus minus. So what value this function will return? You need to understand this. This is a post decrement, means first you have to use the value for whatever reason, and then you need to decrease that value, correct? So first you need to use the value. So what is the value here? 16, correct? So first you need to use it, means we will return 16, and after we have returned 16, this integer variable will be decremented by one value. So I hope you got this thing. What is post decrement? First you have to use the value, then you can decrement it. Okay, so first let's use the value. So we return 16 and this value will get decremented by 15. Okay, so now the value of static variable is 15, correct? So now this function returns 16 here. So after it returns 16 in the initialization phase, nothing happens because we are not storing this 16 which is returned in any variable. So it is just ignored, simply ignored, and the function will now move on to the condition part, correct? So after moving to the condition part, let us see what happens. So as you can see, we have come to the condition part and the static variable is still present because, as I said, it won't be deleted, or it is alive till the entire code completion. So now this function is called, again a memory of function will be allocated, correct? Now this line will be executed. This line won't be executed. This will be ignored because, as I said, static variable is initialized only once. Okay, so this line is completely ignored by the compiler because he knows that it is already executed once, correct? Now we will execute this last line only, that is num minus minus. So as I said, first we need to use the value and then we need to decrease the value. So let us do that. So first we return 15 and then we will decrement the value by 1. Okay, so this function returns 15 in the condition part. So you already know that 15 is a non-zero data. So in C, any non-zero data is considered to be a true value, only 0 is considered to be a false value. So this 15 is a true value, so this condition is accepted and we will just go inside the for loop, correct? So we have come inside the for loop and now we will again call this function. You see static variable is still present. So you need to call this function again. So again a memory of this function will be allocated and again we will execute this last line. That is, first we will use the value and then we will decrement that value. So first we return 14 and as you already know, as soon as we return 14, that will get printed on the output console. So output console will get 14 and our number will be decremented by 1. As you can see, it became 13 now. Okay, so now our output console has 14 as of now. Still the program is not completely executed. Still we have something. Now after this for loop is completely executed, now again we will go move to the increment decrement part. So this is the flow of for loop. You already know it, I hope. So now we move on to the increment decrement part. So again we are calling function, so we need to allocate something for this function. Now again we need to execute this line, means first we will use the value and then we will decrement it. So 13 will be returned and the value will be decremented by 1. That is, now it became 12. Okay, I hope you are getting there. It's very easy, right? But it's really very confusing. So that is why if you create this, if you solve this question by using the memory diagram, then easily you can solve it, else you cannot solve it. Okay, so now it returns 13, so it is also not used, so again it will move on to the condition part. Okay, still our output console is having 14 only. So now our condition part will be executed. So already we know how to execute this. Again we will return the num minus minus. So 12th will be returned and its value will be decremented by 1. That is, now its value is 11. Okay, so as we know 12 is a non-zero data, so condition is accepted and it will move inside the for loop. So again we have moved inside the for loop, and again we will call this function, and again we will return 11, and the num variable will be decremented by 1. So now the value is 10. So 11 is returned from this function call. So 11 will be printed on the output console. So as of now our output console was having 14 only. Now it will have 14 and 11. Okay, so now it have 14 and 11 as of now. Still the program is not completely executed. Again we will move back to the increment decrement part and then to the condition part. Okay, so let us see. So now we are having here again a function call happens, and again we will return 10 and the value will is decremented by 9. Okay, so nothing happens, our output console is still the same. Now we'll move on to the condition check. So in the condition check the function is called again, and again we will return 9 as of now, and the value is decremented by 1, that is 8. Okay, now 9 is a non-zero data, so the condition is accepted again, and then we will move inside the for loop. So inside the for loop, as you can see, again a function call is happening. So again a function call will happen, and now we will return num minus minus. So 8 is returned and the value of num is decremented by 1. Okay, so as we can see 8 is returned, so now we have to print that on the output console. So now we are having in the output console 14, 11 and 8. Okay, as of now. Now again we need to do the same process. So again a function call happens, and we will just return 7 and the value is decremented by 1, that is it became 6 now. Now again our output console is still the same. Now we move on to the condition check again. So in the condition check function is called again, and then again we will return the value 6 and it will be decremented by 1. Now 6 is a non-zero data, as you already know, so the condition is accepted again, and again we will move inside the for loop. I hope you are getting this thing. Okay, so again you need to move inside the for loop. Still our output console is still the same, 14, 11 and 8. Okay, so inside the for loop func will be called again. So again we need to call the function, and 5 will be returned and the value is decremented by 1, that is it now became 4. Okay, so again we need to print that value in the output console, whatever it is returning. So 5 is returning, so we need to print that on the output console. So now our output console is having 14, 11, 8 and 5. Okay, now after doing this, again we need to move on to the increment decrement section. So in the increment decrement section function is called again. Again we will do the function call, and 4 will be returned and its value will become 3 now, and our output console is still the same. Now we'll move on to the condition check. So in the condition check again the function is called, and we will round return 3 and the value will be 2 now. Okay, now the 3 is a non-zero data, so again we will move inside the for loop. So again function will be called, and now we will return 2, and now its value will be decremented by 1, so it became 3, 1 now. Okay, now 2 is returned, so 2 will be printed on the output console. So now our output console will have 14, 11, 8, 5 and 2. Okay, now do this very carefully. See, now again we will move back to the increment decrement part, because still we are in the for loop itself. Okay, so again we move to the increment decrement section. So again a function will be called, and 1 will be returned, and now it became 0. Just understand this. Now it decremented by 1 and it became 0. Our output console is still the same. Now we are moving on to the condition part, which is very important. So now in the condition we are calling the function again, and now see what we are returning. We are returning 0, because first we need to use the value. So we return 0, and now we will decrement the value, that is -1. So you already know 0 is a false value, so this condition is not accepted now. So now our code will terminate. So our output console was still the same, 14, 11, 8, 5 and 2. So this is our final answer. I hope you got this concept. If you have any doubt in this question, I would suggest you to kindly rewatch this video so that you can understand what is going on and how you need to track the data using your memory diagram. If you understand this thing, you can solve any problem. Okay. So our final result will be 14, 11, 8, 5 and 2. So if you have any doubt in this question, which I hope you are not having, but still you have any doubt, you can comment down your views. I will definitely clear that out. Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much.